This is your weekly report on corruption in the Philippine government. A municipal government employee was shot dead by motorcycle-riding gunmen in Mid-Salip town, Zamboanga del Sur province on Thursday, November 20th. Police identified the victim as Ronald Gerald Izobindasyon, 53, a resident of Barangay Timbaboy, Mid-Salip, and a municipal government employee of Mid-Salip. Investigation said Bindasyon was walking towards a parking area when a motorcycle with two men on board appeared. One of them, wearing a green raincoat, alighted from the motorcycle and fired at the victim. The victim sustained multiple bullet wounds and died on the spot. Police are conducting follow-up investigation. A Department of Public Works and Highways engineer linked to an alleged flood control scam was arrested on Sunday, November 23rd, in Quezon City. The National Bureau of Investigation identified the district engineer as Dennis Abagan of DPWH Mimaropa. He was arrested in Quezon City, a day after operatives attempted to serve the warrant at his registered address in Cavite. He was located after a follow-up operation. Recovered from Abagan were 3 cellular phones, identification cards, a power bank, a drone, and a digital video recorder. Abagan is among those charged with malversation of public funds in connection with the controversial 289.5 million pesos flood control project in Norjan, Oriental Mindoro. Investigators allege that the project was marred by irregularities that resulted in the misuse of public funds. The arrest came days after President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. announced that the government had compiled a list of individuals allegedly involved in anomalies linked to various flood control projects nationwide. Abagan is set to be turned over to the Sandigan Bayan, where he will undergo further proceedings related to the charges. Meanwhile, the Quezon City Police District launched immediate manhunt operations on Friday, November 21st, deploying warrant tracker teams to multiple addresses linked to several accused individuals. QCPD said district-wide manhunt operations are ongoing, with coordination underway with national agencies, Interpol Manila, and the Department of Justice for possible hold departure orders and monitoring of suspect movements. A barangay councilor was shot dead here before dawn on Saturday, November 22nd. Police said the victim, Jalambri Bearing Utubera, 28, councilor of Barangay Manakahan, was driving his motorcycle in Barangay Santa Catalina when a man, Kyle Belaza Navarro, engaged him in a conversation and asked why he was in the area. YouTuber said he was meeting someone and inquired about the safety of the area. The victim drove to the inner portion of Martha Drive when Navarro heard 2 gunshots. Navarro proceeded to the area and found YouTuber bleeding and lying on the ground beside his motorcycle. YouTuber was taken to a hospital where he was declared dead. 2 empty shells of a .45 caliber pistol were recovered from the crime scene. Police are conducting follow-up investigation and manhunt operations for the gunman. The Court of Appeals has upheld the Ombudsman's dismissal of a municipal engineer in Asilang, Cavite, over the simulated bidding for flowers and string lights used in a ball celebrating the Feast of Nuestra Senora de Candelaria in 2023. Robert Marquina was found liable for signing off on the irregular procurement of flowers worth an estimated 70,000 pesos and 1,000 string light bulbs valued at 100,000 pesos. With the bidding documents prepared and issued only after the event took place on the 28th of January, 2023, the Silang municipal government issued a purchase request of 170,000 pesos for the items on the 13th of January, which was prepared by the municipal administrator and the Bids and Awards Committee. It was approved by then Silang, Cavite Mayor Alston Kevin Anala and certified by the treasurer. The BAC chair later sent out requests for quotations to 3 bidders. After 2 weeks, the obligation requests were issued, and the local government purchased the items from Badath Merchandise. On the 5th of January, 2024, the Commission on Audit issued an observation memorandum indicating that the procurement of the flowers and string lights was irregular and illegal, as the bidding documents, including the Philippine Government Electronic Procurement System or PhilJEP's bid notice abstract, were dated and issued after the event already took place. The COA noted that the bid notice abstract was created on the 31st of January, 3 days after the Sarangano Ball was held, while the request for quotation was published online on the 1st of February. Anana, however, denied the bidding was simulated, explaining there was a delay in the documentation process and that the usual disbursement and accounting procedures had been complied with. Nonetheless, the COA subsequently issued notices of disallowance and complaints were filed before the Office of the Ombudsman against Silang officials, including Anana and Marquina. In its probe, the Ombudsman's Field Investigation Office found that Badath merchandise was not registered with the Business Permit and Licensing Office of Silang. It was also discovered that no string lights were actually procured, as the ones used during the event had been rented. As for the flowers, the value of the ones delivered was much lower than the amount supposedly paid. In his defense, Marquina maintained that he could not be held liable for the crimes charged, as there was no evidence of corruption or proof that he personally benefited from the questioned procurement. He also said he did not cause any damage to any person or association since the funds were used for their intended purpose. But the Ombudsman, in its decision, held him and other respondents liable, saying that even though the questioned procurement falls within the threshold for small value procurement, they blatantly ignored the guidelines specified under Republic Act No. 9184 by conducting the procurement process only after the ball took place. Marquina elevated his case to the CA, arguing, among others, that the Ombudsman gravely erred in imposing extreme penalties that were not commensurate with his alleged acts. But in denying his petition, the CA said that his act of signing the bid and procurement documents constituted serious dishonesty and grave misconduct. Being a member of LGU Silang's BAC, petitioner was duty-bound to know and follow the law, and yet, he did not comply with the required procurement process in a flagrant manner and with such disregard for the same. The CA 3rd Division said in the ruling penned by Associate Justice Ruben Roxas, the lack of evidence that Marquina gained financial benefit from the procurement was immaterial. The CA noted, because corruption, as an element of grave misconduct, consists in the official's unlawful and wrongful use of his position to procure some benefit, a benefit that may redound for the official himself or for another person. In this case, Badath merchandise. All told, while petitioner may not be held accountable for serious dishonesty, he is liable for grave misconduct and gross neglect of duty, both of which are grave offenses punishable by dismissal from service, the CA said. Hence, the penalty of dismissal and its appurtenant penalties that the Ombudsman imposed are still in order and need not be disturbed, it added. In the 20th of October 24, the Ombudsman ordered Anana's dismissal from office and barred him from holding a government post after it found him guilty of grave misconduct and serious dishonesty. Though Anana was re-elected in the May midterm polls, he was disqualified by the Commission on Elections, which cited the Ombudsman's ruling. The commander of the Philippine National Police, Drug Enforcement Group Calabarzon Special Operations Unit and 14 of his officers were relieved from their posts following the alleged robbery-rape of a grade 9 student in Cavite. The alleged robbery-rape involving the 14 officers and the victim, identified only as Nina, occurred in Barangay Talaba 3, Bacoor City last Saturday morning, according to a police report sent to reporters. As an initial action, I relieved the commander. I relieved the 14 personnel. They are all now under the admin holding office of PDEG. We relieved 15 to include the commander for command responsibility. DEG Director Brigadier General Elmer Ragay said in a press briefing in Camp Crame on Monday. The operation was covered by a target intel packet involving one personality who is the target in Bacoor. However, the buy-bust operation did not materialize. The subject escaped and the complainant in the rape case is the girlfriend of the would-be subject of the buy-bust, Ragay added. The PNPDEG director said the 15 officers will be facing an administrative case. The police report further noted the 14 officers are awaiting a complaint for violation of Republic Act 8353 or the anti-rape law before the Bacoor City prosecutor. According to the police report, the 14 officers are a police colonel, a police lieutenant, a police master sergeant, 5 police corporals and 7 patrolmen. 8 of the suspects have been arrested and 6 others are at large, Ragay said, adding, 4 of them at-large suspects are sending feelers for possible voluntary surrender. Meanwhile, according to Ragay, the victim had been placed under the custody and protection of the Bacoor City Police Station. The National Police Commission on Monday said it deployed its own investigators to look into the case. Based on initial reports received by the commission, Napolcom noted that the alleged operation conducted by the officers had no coordination, no documented authorization, and no record of any legitimate police activity at the time. Napolcom said, as part of its mandate, Napolcom is now preparing to file administrative charges should the ongoing investigation establish probable cause. It added, noting the administrative cases may be for grave misconduct and conduct unbecoming of a police officer. Napolcom further said the victim will file an administrative complaint before the commission tomorrow. The director and assistant director of the Land Transportation Office National Capital Region have been relieved from their posts amid their suspected involvement in the controversies surrounding the registration of luxury vehicles owned by Discaya couple, according to a report by Super Radio DZBB's Carlo Matteo on Monday. Transportation Acting Secretary Giovanni Lopez ordered their relief to give way to an ongoing investigation into the questionable registration of vehicles linked to the Discaya family. In a separate statement, the LTO said its chief, Assistant Secretary Marcus Lacanileo, has been designated as concurrent acting regional director of the concerned office. Assistant Secretary Lacanileo officially commenced his responsibilities today with his participation in the flag-raising ceremony held at the LTO NCR headquarters, the LTO said. Following the ceremony, he convened a meeting with the division and district offices chiefs to address and deliberate on critical issues and operational priorities pertinent to the regional and district offices, it added. According to the agency, Lacanileo's designation is expected to bring renewed focus and strategic direction to LTO NCR, ensuring the continued delivery of efficient and effective public services. Assistant Secretary Lacanileo's extensive experience and leadership are anticipated to foster enhanced coordination and performance across the regional operations, the LTO said. The Bureau of Customs on Sunday said it is preparing to hold a second public auction for 4 unsold luxury vehicles owned by the Discaya family. Authorities believe the vehicles were imported and registered in the country through fraudulent means. The auction forms part of the BOC's efforts to recover lost government revenue and remit proceeds to the national treasury. The Discaya family has been under scrutiny over their alleged involvement in a multi-billion peso corruption scheme tied to public works contracts, including flood control projects. Then Justice Secretary and now Ombudsman Jesus Crispin Ramiro earlier said Discaya-owned companies secured around 200 billion pesos worth of government infrastructure projects. A barangay captain was shot dead in an ambush in Barangay Iloli, Masantal Town, Pampanga Province on Tuesday afternoon, November 25. Police identified the victim as Barangay Balabago, Masantal Captain Jinqui Quayambao. Investigation said the victim and his colleagues were on their way home from the birth anniversary celebration of Masantal Mayor Danilo Ginto when 2 armed men appeared and fired at the group at past 1 p.m. The victim was taken to a hospital, where he was declared dead from a bullet wound in the head. A colleague was wounded by a stray bullet and is recuperating. Ginto and provincial officials condemned the murder and appealed for justice for the barangay official. Police vowed justice for Quayambao. We strongly denounce the alarming incident that transpired in Barangay Iloli, Masantal, Pampanga, which led to the untimely passing of Barangay Chairman Jinqui V. Quayambao, a respected and hard-working leader whose service left a meaningful mark on his community. Police Colonel Eugene Marcelo, Pampanga Police Chief, said in a statement, "We extend our deepest sympathies to his family and loved ones as they navigate this difficult moment," Marcelo said. Marcelo has ordered Police Major Jimmy Malonzo, Masantal Police Chief, to intensify all investigative actions and fast-track the identification and arrest of those involved. Our provincial forensic unit has completed the processing of the crime scene, and all pieces of evidence are now under thorough and accelerated examination to aid in swiftly resolving the case, Marcelo said. We are strengthening coordination with adjacent police stations and partner law enforcement units to ensure a unified, efficient, and continuous pursuit of the suspects. The Pampanga Police Provincial Office remains firm in its commitment to uphold peace and security, and to ensure that communities across the province feel protected and supported, Marcelo said. We urge the public to remain calm yet vigilant, and to immediately report any information that may help in the ongoing investigation. Your cooperation is vital. Together, we will pursue justice with resolve and ensure accountability for this incident. A barangay captain in Digas City, Davao del Sur province was shot while streaming live on his Facebook page inside his residence at around 9 p.m. Tuesday, November 25. Police identified the victim as Oscar Dodong Bucal Jr. of Barangay Tres de Mayo. Bucal was streaming live on his Facebook page while talking to an elderly man who returned a lost wallet. When the first shot rang, Bucal's live stream was apparently interrupted. Few seconds later, Bucal was seen running in front of the camera and was seen reaching for his right shoulder. The live stream went on until Bucal apparently fell on the ground, was still pleading for help from his companions inside his residential compound. Bucal was taken to the hospital where he was declared dead. The victim had been criticizing some politicians and Davao del Sur through his Facebook page. Bucal said he was unfazed by the threats to his life. The victim had also criticized local officials for alleged anomalous projects in the province. The Davao del Sur Police Provincial Office is creating a special investigation task group to conduct a deeper probe on the killing of Bucol. Initial assessments have identified possible persons of interest, based on individuals previously mentioned by the victim in his earlier social media posts, the DSPPO said on Wednesday, November 26. Police are currently gathering further evidence, including closed-circuit television footages. They appealed to the public to cooperate and provide any information that may assist in the speedy resolution of the case. Bucol's constituents gathered in his residence as well as at the hospital where he was taken as news broke out of his shooting. 8 Navitius City police officers are facing complaints for allegedly torturing 2 murder suspects they took into custody, the Philippine National Police said. At a press briefing in Camp Crame on Wednesday, PNP Public Information Chief Brigadier General Randolph Tuano withheld the names of the officers but said there were 4 staff sergeants, a master sergeant, a corporal, and 2 patrolmen. A complaint was filed against them last November 20th. The cases filed against them were 4. Grave misconduct, serious irregularity in the performance of their duty, conduct unbecoming of a police officer, and the Anti-Torture Act, Tuano explained. This stemmed from their arrest of the 2 complainants, during which they were allegedly tortured by the said police of Navitius, he added. Tuano said the suspects were arrested by the police officers last November 8 over a fatal shooting incident in Barangay Bancalusi 5 days earlier. A police report from the National Capital Region Police Office identified the suspects as 40-year-old driver mechanic Michael and 25-year-old fisherman Aaron, while the victims they allegedly shot dead were 41-year-old driver RC and 43-year-old businessman Olan. In an interview with reporters later on Wednesday, the arrested suspects' legal counsel lawyer Sid Stephen Andiza claimed the alleged torture took place inside the office of the Navitius City Police Station Intelligence Section. They were being hit on the feet and tied up at their hands and feet, and their heads were covered with plastic so they couldn't breathe, Andiza explained. The PNP Public Information Chief noted that the 2 suspects, through their legal counsel, have forwarded the matter to the Internal Affairs Service and the Navitius City Police Station. The police officers said they will answer the complaints lodged against them, and they say, as a defense, that this is harassment over their arrest of the 2 suspects, he said. For its part, in a statement later on Wednesday, the IAS said, the individuals have yet to execute sworn statements due to fear within the detention facility, and arrangements are underway to obtain their testimonies in a secure setting. We take all allegations of abuse seriously and will ensure a thorough and impartial investigation. The IAS remains committed to upholding accountability and protecting the rights of every person under police custody, IAS Inspector General Attorney Brigido Dule said in the statement. The IAS further said it requested the full case records from its NCR, which is also conducting a parallel inquiry. A female prison guard was immediately placed under preventive suspension after she was caught with illegal drugs on Wednesday. In a statement, the Bureau of Corrections said Director General Gregorio Pio Catapang Jr. ordered the preventive suspension of Corrections Technical Officer 1 Milchuro Wong after she was caught with 2 plastic sachets of suspected shabu mixed inside a pouch of Pandazol. She was apprehended by Corrections Officer 1 Benito Pancho during a routine inspection at the new Bilibid Prison Gate 1 maximum security compound at around 7:30 am in a follow-up operation led by NBP Maximum Security Camp Commander Major Henry Avila. 33 more plastic sachets of suspected shabu were confiscated from inmate Rianil Dazon at Dorm 5A. Dazon reportedly frequently visited Wong at the prison hospital. Catapang also ordered the immediate filing of formal charges against Wong, while Pancho was given a spot promotion to the next high rank. His formal award for a job well done is scheduled for next Monday's flag-raising ceremony. These are the challenges that we have to face. We are not only guarding persons deprived of liberty, but we also have to be vigilant against our own people. It's good that there are only a few hard-headed personnel who refused to change, but their days are numbered, Catapang said. Catapang renewed his call to all corrections officers manning Bucol's entry points to be more alert and vigilant and adhere to the strict implementation of protocols. 7 congressmen who are owners of construction firms that have contracts with the Department of Public Works and Highways have been recommended for prosecution by the Independent Commission for Infrastructure. Also on ICI's list, the 8th, was resigned party list representative and fugitives Aldi company. The lawmakers, mockingly called contractors, appeared to have violated the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act and the Code of Conduct and Ethical Standards for Government Officials and Public Employees, for taking part in firms found doing business with the DPWH. the ICI said in its recommendation addressed to the Office of the Ombudsman. These congressmen should not be engaging in private business activities that conflict with their official duties, and they should not influence bids and awards, ICI Chairman Andres Reyes Jr. said. Members of Congress must not sway procurement processes, nor should they participate in or benefit from government contracts, he said. President Marcos also announced the development in a video statement, where he vowed no let-up in efforts to recover funds lost to corruption. "This is our promise, that the money of the people will be given back to the people," Marcos said. Co was included on the list for his ties with FSCO Builders and Supply, owned by a sibling. Construction Workers Solidarity Party list rep Edwin Guardiola is related to top shareholders of Newington Builders Incorporated, Laurel Development Corporation and Desang General Construction and Trading Incorporated. Uswag Longo Party list representative James Ang Jr., one of the 17 lawmakers tagged by the disgrace in the flood control mess during a Senate hearing in September, has links to IBC International Builders Corporation and Alenkan Development Corporation. Ang issued a statement yesterday saying his resolve for truth to come out is stronger and clearer. Pusong Penoy Party list representative Journey Jetnisse remains as the general manager of JVN Construction and Trading. The family of Bulacan 2nd District Representative Augustina Dominique Pancho owns CM Pancho Construction Incorporated. Cagayan 3rd District Representative Joseph Lasam Lara founded JLL Pulsar Construction Corporation, which his children now own. Surigao del Norte 1st District Representative Francisco Matugas, already indicted in July for allegedly diverting disaster response funds to other projects without authority, has ties with Boomatrix Development Corporation. Tarlac 3rd District Representative Noel Rivera, already facing a case for allegedly colluding with his wife and a DPWH engineer to secure over 600 million pesos in government contracts, has links to Tarlac 3G Construction and Development Corporation. All in all, their firms cornered 1,300 infrastructure projects from 2016 to 2024, but the ICI is mum about the specifics of the joint referral with the DPWH. "We looked at the records. We looked at the contracts. That's all I can say because this is investigative work. I cannot divulge how we arrive at these conclusions," he said. The ICI cited Article 6, Section 14 of the Constitution, which states that neither a senator nor a representative should be interested financially in any contract with, or in any franchise or special privilege granted by the government, or any subdivision, agency or instrumentality thereof, including any government-owned or controlled corporation, or its subsidiary. During his term of office, Reyes called for the eradication of the culture of contracting in Congress as corruption in government continues to fester. "This practice should have ended decades ago," he said. "The longer we allow it to exist, the more it corrodes public trust. Let us tear down this abusive system one by one with every filing," the ICI chairman added. "More names will come out in the coming weeks," he said without elaborating. Ombudsman Jesus Crispin Ramírez said he is set to discuss with Speaker Faustino Di III how to deal with the congressmen facing prosecution. "There will be disruption. I have to talk to the speaker because many will get affected. Our law is full of statutes that will make people accountable and make them pay the price for their misdeeds," he said at a briefing. Ramírez said more than 10% of House members would likely be affected by the investigations. He also said apart from the 8 lawmakers being tagged, there could be around 12 to 15 more with obviously conflicts of interest. The ombudsman, however, said they are waiting for the lawmakers themselves to come clean. Also yesterday, Quezon 3rd District Representative Rian and Aragansya and Occidental Mindoro Representative Leody Tarilo appeared before the ICI, but behind closed doors, to debunk the disgrace claim that they had also received kickbacks from anomalous flood control projects. ICI Executive Director Brian Keith Hosaka said the commission granted the request of the two not to live stream their testimonies because of sensitivity of some information. They cited sensitive and private information that might be divulged during their testimonies, and the commission saw it fit to allow an executive session. Hosaka said, "There is information that should really be divulged in confidence so that the investigation will proceed without any hitches or problems because the commission needs to get as much evidence and information as possible for us to arrive at the truth." Hosaka said, "I encourage everyone to read our guidelines because they are based on law, jurisprudence and even the pronouncements of the Supreme Court," he added. In his video statement, Marcos also reported that the Anti-Money Laundering Council has secured 2 freeze orders for properties linked to the flood control controversy, bringing the total amount of frozen assets to about 12 billion pesos. Among those covered by the orders are CO's assets valued at 4 billion pesos, he added. Also covered by the freeze order were 3,566 bank accounts, 198 insurance policies, 247 motor vehicles, 178 real properties and 16 e-wallet accounts. This is just the beginning. More assets will be frozen so the money can be returned to the people, the chief executive said. The flood control controversy started after Marcos ordered an investigation on substandard and ghost projects during his fourth State of the Nation address last July. The scandal has caused leadership changes in Congress, resignations as well as calls to cleanse the bureaucracy of corruption. The issuance of the freeze orders will enable AMLC to pursue a more extensive financial investigation to uncover any possible money laundering scheme linked to the flood control projects, said AMLC Executive Director Matthew David. The public can be assured that the AMLC will continue to pursue all possible legal remedies to ensure that those involved in the misuse of public funds are held accountable, he added. The AMLC has not publicly identified the officials involved, citing confidentiality restrictions while investigations are ongoing. Meanwhile, DPWH accountant Juliet Corva, who had posted 90,000 pesos bail for her temporary release, was rearrested after she was included among respondents in malversation of public funds charges. Another DPWH official, Montrexis Tamayo, was nabbed by police at the Ninoy Aquino International Airport yesterday upon his arrival from Israel. That's all for this week. I'll see you next Friday with more stories of corruption and foolishness within the Philippine government.